psychology of self-made founders.
All billion-dollar stories share a beginning. An empty room, no resources, no recognition. Just one person who can't stop imagining solutions. Self-made founders aren't born extraordinary. They become extraordinary because they learn how to stay obsessed longer than the world expects. Motivation rises and falls. Obsession stays. That's the real psychological difference. These founders lock onto a problem so tightly that the rest of life becomes background noise. They're not chasing success, they're chasing the solution. And that obsession shapes everything that comes next. Ingvar Kamprad, the founder of IKEA. Kamprad didn't grow up dreaming of a global furniture empire. He grew up trying to survive. As a dyslexic boy in rural Sweden, he learned early that life rewards those who can turn inconvenience into opportunity. He sold matches door to door at age 5, fish at 7, Christmas cards at 10. Not because he enjoyed hustling, but because necessity sharpened him. The IKEA spark came from one curious moment. Kamprad watched a worker remove the legs from a table so it could fit into a car. Most people would shrug. Kamprad saw a revolution. His psychological edge was simplicity as strategy. He believed great design wasn't about luxury, it was about removing friction. Flat-pack furniture was more than a business idea, it was a mindset. If something is difficult for the customer, redesign the world until it isn't. That philosophy turned a small Swedish mail-order business into the world's most recognizable furniture brand. Koum, a founder of WhatsApp. Koum's story begins in Soviet-era Ukraine, where phone calls were monitored and privacy was a fantasy. At 16, he fled to the US with his mother and lived on welfare, cleaning floors in a grocery store to survive. Isolation, poverty, and a constant sense of being watched shaped him. He taught himself programming from second-hand manuals because he couldn't afford classes. A pure expression of self-driven mastery. Years later, after being rejected by Facebook for a job, Koum created WhatsApp. It wasn't built for convenience. It was built from childhood trauma. A desire for communication without fear, without surveillance, without barriers. His psychological superpower was minimalism fueled by pain. WhatsApp was intentionally quiet. No ads, no noise, no clutter. A sanctuary disguised as an app. When he sold it to Facebook for $19 billion, he signed the deal on the steps of the welfare office where he used to collect food stamps. He closed the loop. Not with celebration, but with a kind of quiet justice. Amancio Ortega, the founder of ZARA. Ortega started as a delivery boy in a small clothing shop in Spain, too poor to continue school. He learned the fashion industry from the bottom, not runways and glamour, but factories, sewing rooms, and customers complaining about late orders. Ortega noticed one truth: fashion was slow, and slowness kills desire. Where other brands plan seasons months in advance, he built ZARA around speed as a weapon. Design today, produce tomorrow, sell next week. His innovation wasn't style, it was logistics as psychology. He understood people don't buy clothes, they buy the thrill of something new. ZARA's fast cycle production wasn't just efficient, it tapped into human desire. Scarcity, novelty, urgency. Ortega built a global empire without press interviews, without public appearances. His silence wasn't shyness, it was focus. Si-Hyuk, the founder of HYBE, the birthplace of BTS, never fit the mold of a K-pop power broker. Not glamorous, not an ex-idol, not backed by a giant agency. He started as a composer with one belief: authenticity beats perfection. While the industry chased flawless images, Bang let BTS show their flaws, fears, and growth. A psychological gamble in a world obsessed with polish. His strength was emotional intelligence, understanding that real connection outshines manufactured fantasy. He built communities, not consumers, inviting fans to join the story rather than just watch it. Creation for him was a living cycle. Feedback, evolution, transformation. HYBE's rise wasn't luck. It came from a founder who proved that sincerity and storytelling could scale just as powerfully as music. He didn't just build a company, he engineered a cultural ecosystem. These four founders had almost nothing in common. A farmer's son, a refugee, a factory boy, and a composer. But their psychology aligned in one way. They turned personal disadvantage into strategic advantage. Kamprad turned simplicity into power. Koum turned trauma into privacy. Ortega turned scarcity into desire. Bang turned vulnerability into connection. Each of them proved that the mind is the true starting point of greatness. Not money, not talent, not circumstance. They turned disadvantage into design, pain into purpose, insecurity into innovation. And once their obsession took shape, the world followed. Which brings us back to Bang Si-Hyuk and the unlikely rise of HYBE. Because what he built with BTS wasn't just a company or a band. It was a blueprint for how culture spreads, how communities form, and how authenticity travels farther than any marketing plan. And that blueprint leads directly into our next episode, K-pop, the global wave. We'll step into the world of K-pop itself, uncovering the system behind it and how it transformed a national art form into a global cultural force. K-pop didn't go global overnight. What do you think was the real turning point? Leave a comment. If you'd like to dive into the story of ZARA's founder, Amancio Ortega, I highly recommend the book Built in Silence, Ortega's Quiet Takeover. His rise wasn't accidental. ZARA became a global force, not through hype, but through a founder who treated silence as a strategy and efficiency as a form of power.